Well, hi everyone, Sean here. Thanks for taking the time to view the presentation, Look After Your Energy Cells. Over the last number of weeks, we've put together some presentations looking at different aspects of physical resiliency. This particular presentation will carry along that theme, and today we're going to look at energy generation from a perspective of physical resiliency, and we're going to look at it at the cellular level. So if your energy is waning a little bit, you're looking for some ideas or understanding about how energy is created within our physical bodies, I think you'll find this presentation very, very helpful. So before we do that, let's look at our model for energy. So we think that there's four major components to the generation of capacity or energy in our lives: the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. We'll talk about some aspects of physical today, but emotional, one example will be in the area of relationships. When they're working well, we have lots of energy. When we have even one relationship that's not going well, there's a bleeding off of energy. Mental, have you ever taken a personal retreat and worked on goals and things you want to accomplish? That can be very energizing. Spiritual, could be spiritual traditions, it could be great purposes, things that are much bigger than you, can be very inspiring and create lots of energy to accomplish things that are important to us. For today's presentation, we're going to talk about the physical aspects of energy at the cellular level. To start with, what is health? So health really is an efficient metabolism. The notion of an engine, I think, makes sense. We take in fuel, hopefully good quality fuel. That fuel is used to generate energy. Our engine basically burns that fuel, creates energy, and hopefully it does it efficiently so there's not a lot of waste products, and that the engine works well and it's not breaking down. Our human bodies are the same way. We take in fuel, energy, our bodies metabolize that to work our organs, to give us energy, physical capacity to get the things done in the day that we need to. If we're metabolically efficient, when we take in the energy, use the energy, at the end of the day, we don't have excess pounds that we've added to our waistline. So in that state, we're in equilibrium. Now the reality is as we get older, our metabolic efficiency begins to decline. Now there are things we can do to sort of push that back a bit, some best practices in terms of health, which we'll talk about in future videos. But aging does have just a long-term deleterious impact on our metabolic efficiency. But here and now, in our current environment, there's things that we can be attentive to. So it could be our physical environment may create a drag on our metabolic efficiency. We may be exposing ourselves unwittingly to toxins. We could be taking in nutrients that are poor quality, and it puts pressure on our metabolism over time. Maybe we drink too much, maybe there's drugs we're taking. So there's different things that we expose ourselves to, either knowingly or unknowingly, that can create a slow winding down of our metabolic efficiency. And then all of a sudden you're gaining weight, you don't have energy, and you see this sort of slow decline in your capacities. So what we want to talk about is reversing that and going in the direction of metabolic efficiency and lots of energy. Now we start the discussion really, and it's probably the key point of this discussion, by looking at the cellular level at something called the mitochondrial cell. The mitochondria are absolutely critical to the generation of energy for us to do the things we do every single day. In large part, these mitochondrial cells really are the workhorses of the energy creation. There's thousands of them in just one cell. They have their own DNA, and they're so similar to bacteria that some people think they actually are a form or a kind of bacteria. Mitochondria are important because they are the body's energizers. And inside the mitochondria, this is where the fuel is actually burned. Okay, so when we take in nutrients, it's burned, and that creates energy. And that energy is sometimes referred to as ATP. In other words, these mitochondrial cells are your body's power plants. So we need to find ways of making sure that we're nourishing them and looking after them. Now once food gets into the cell, it enters the mitochondria, and these little organelles then take that fuel and turn it into energy using oxygen. They do this by taking the sugar and the fatty acids, amino acids, and other nutrients from what we eat, and the oxygen that you breathe, and they burn it, releasing energy, heat, and some waste. Now mitochondria burn fuel either well or badly. It's a little bit like that car engine analogy that I just mentioned. And they are present in proportion to the energy requirements in different areas of our body. So as an example, your muscle cells have far more mitochondria than your fat cells. Now when we look at mitochondria, they are very much a marker for health. And one of the first things we look at is The number determines the speed of your metabolism. So the more mitochondria that you have, the faster your metabolism. The amount of mitochondria varies not only by one organ to another, but also from one person to another. So part of this, the density of mitochondria in your body is genetic. But there's no doubt that there are environmental factors that can make a difference. And one of the key factors that influences the amount of mitochondria that we have in our body, and hence the amount of energy capacity that is available to us, is exercise. So a fit person would have better functioning mitochondria per pound of body weight in general. Okay, so all things being equal, the fitter you are, the more mitochondria cells you have, the more energy capacity you have, and the more overall health you have because your metabolic efficiency is that much higher. Efficient metabolism is a marker for health. Now, we don't often think of that, but it really is true. If your metabolism is efficient, then it means that you're probably in a healthy state. Because after all, you do want to use all the calories you eat for energy rather than putting them into storage and getting fat. You can't do that if your mitochondria are not functioning well. If they're sluggish, or they're damaged, or you don't have enough of them, your metabolism won't be efficient and the energy level that you have will suffer. And if you don't have enough energy, then your health will start to fail. Okay, so it's all connected together. Poor nutrition can negatively impact your mitochondria cells. So, there's a lot of reasons why we engage in best practices around nutrition. Sometimes, it's because we just want to look good in a bathing suit in the summertime. It could be because we've gained a lot of weight and we want to lose weight. But at the end of the day, one of the most important reasons to focus on good nutrition practices is to really be supporting, it helps to support those mitochondrial cells. And so when we look at this area, it's important because the mitochondrial cells are subject to oxidative damage. Because the process of burning calories to provide energy in the mitochondria requires oxygen. And as a result, free radicals are produced as a byproduct. And these free radicals are also known as reactive oxygen species, or ROS. So you think of these ROS as the sparks that fly off a quickly burning fire as your mitochondria burn fuel or food to make energy. These sparks then burn, and as they burn, they damage the mitochondria themselves. And as the mitochondria are damaged, they're no longer able to create energy for the cells, and the cells will die. Now, normally our mitochondria have their own natural defenses against these sparks, a sort of built-in sprinkler system. This sprinkler system is a mitochondrial antioxidant system composed of important antioxidants that can cool the heat and extinguish the sparks in the process of internal combustion inside the mitochondria. These antioxidants include important nutrients such as vitamin E, coenzyme Q10, and alpha-lipoic acid, to name a few. Now, anything that interferes with this antioxidant system will allow for mitochondrial damage, which then leads to cell damage and ultimately death. When we examine disease or illness at the cellular level, we find that mitochondrial damage or dysfunction occurs in almost every major type of illness, including Alzheimer's disease, hepatitis, heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and cancer. So protecting and caring properly for these vital little power plants then becomes a very critical objective in the promotion of optimal health and of generating energy in our bodies. Now, when we talk about metabolic fitness, one good measure of it is VO2 max. We often hear this term as it relates to fitness and athletes who are trying to do well in the arena of sports. VO2 max is an indicator because it correlates with overall health. Because remember, your metabolism burns food to produce energy. In doing that, it's using oxygen, and as an internal combustion machine, so food won't burn without the presence of oxygen, and VO2 max indicates the amount of oxygen your body uses to burn fuel or food. So if your VO2 max is high, you are using a lot of oxygen to burn fuel, and this means that your metabolism is that much more efficient. So there very much is a relationship between how much oxygen is used and the calories that are burned. Poor fitness, actually, at the end of the day, is a marker for disease. So again, we need to draw the connection. And so when you look at a body's ability to use the calories we take in through the processes that the mitochondrial cells go through, One component is the utilization of oxygen. And the better you are at utilizing oxygen, the better the metabolic process is going to function for you. So we often don't think that poor fitness is a marker for disease, but it is. Poor fitness is directly correlated to mortality. And so it's something that we really need to put a little bit of focus on as we go about the planning that we have individually to increase or enhance our overall metabolic fitness and wellness, so we have the energy that we need. So you can improve your VO2 max. And one of the simplest ways of doing that is getting up off the couch and start moving. Ultimately, once you start getting into the practice of moving and a little bit of exercise, one of the very best ways of increasing your VO2 max and your ability to utilize oxygen is through anaerobic exercise. So we have aerobic exercise, then we have anaerobic exercise. Aerobic exercise is exercise you can do for long periods of time. So an example might be marathoners, people who run, long-distance cyclists. I mean, these are just activities you can do, and your body can efficiently, move over long periods of time. But anaerobic are short bursts that you can't do for extended periods of time. These are sprints. It could be sprinting if you're running. It could be sprinting if you're on a bike for 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 90 seconds. And it's these high-intensity exercise bursts that really help to improve your VO2 max. Now, before you engage in those kinds of activities, it's very important that you lay the groundwork for good overall fitness, that you get a clearance from your physician. But once you know you have the base to do it and a clearance from your physician to do it, if you want to improve your metabolic fitness, to improve the efficiency of your mitochondrial cells, then you definitely want to begin introducing anaerobic sprinting into your regular weekly regimes to improve this important area. So what are the takeaways? Well, if you want to make sure you're helping your mitochondria, make sure that you're supplementing with antioxidants. So whether it's vitamin C or vitamin E, what you want to do is sit down with your naturopathic physician or talk to your local supplement store if they've got some licensed practitioners that can help you in this area, and you can begin supplementing with nutrients to really support your mitochondrial cells. Embrace a clean diet. What I mean by that is try to reduce the amount of processed foods you're taking in, and so you want to make sure that you are eating clean. Lots of fruits and vegetables, grass-fed meats, healthy fats, omega-3, coconut oils, avocados. I mean, just generally try to improve your diet, and that's going to help your energy and your mitochondrial cells. Get enough sleep. Make sure you're oscillating between activity and rest, so you're getting a lot of sleep. Sleep deprivation definitely puts pressure on your metabolic system. And start moving. Like I said, anaerobic short bursts. And while we're at it, let's talk about the benefits of exercise. Not only will the benefits of exercise help your mitochondrial system and your metabolic efficiency, but exercise breaks down the body's tissue. If you're taking in great nutrients, then as you break down the body's tissues, you'll build back a stronger body by using those great building blocks that you're taking in through good, nutrient-dense foods. You don't need to have a high, like an expensive, sauna in your house if you want to get the cleansing benefits of sweat production. Just go out and exercise. It provides a great detoxification effect for your body, and it's one of the great side benefits of regular exercise. It has a positive effect on the pituitary gland. And really, when you have an effect on your pituitary gland, you really are creating this brain chemical cascade, body chemical cascade, that just makes you feel better. It's just better from a cognitive, emotional standpoint. You just feel better, you have a change of state. And so there's great benefits attached to exercise in terms of state, mood change, and physical changes physiologically that are just good for you. And like I said, it boosts your sense of well-being. And a little has a big impact. I think particularly when you talk about aerobic versus anaerobic exercise, I think there's a lot of folks out there that are doing way too much aerobic, steady state, long bouts of exercise, and not doing any anaerobic. What you want to do is reduce that steady state aerobic exercise and start putting into your schedule those short bursts of anaerobic activity to improve your metabolic efficiency. And ultimately leads to a stronger heart. Well, I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thanks so much for taking the time to join us. If you want more information about these aspects of health or more information about Take Charge or Change, don't hesitate to visit our website at www.takechargeorchange.com. Thanks again.